Yeah, I think that captured part of it. I just have a few pieces of it, advice, just
Please.
kind of closing thoughts, maybe to Asha, like, letter to Asha, whatever. I'm sure everyone in the entire industry has got their opinion and take, and I'm sure she's trying to digest all of this and take feedback, and her advisors are trying to take feedback. But the first point I just touched upon, create a focal point for the program again. The second point is focus relentlessly on creating the environment for gaming to thrive internally and externally. Create the environment where, that ecosystem, that thriving ecosystem where developers, publishers, players are all building, doing their best work, creating art, creating fun games, entertaining themselves, and the business is making money. Never lose sight of what this is about. It's about the gamer. Delight them, and everything else will fall into place, including the business. Just a piece of advice from being in this business for over 25 years, right? Hopefully
So
Microsoft the right.
what do you mean by that, Greg? Can I press you for like an
Yeah.
example? Like, for instance, are you talking about like sending out free dev kits to any developer that wants it, like to try and like what would be an example?
I mean,
of what you're talking about
that's a good
creating that
example.
environment?
Like create this environment. The industry is so not just Microsoft, not just Xbox, but the entire industry is challenged right now. Right? We have layoffs everywhere. We have studio closures. We have industry consolidation going on. There's sequelitis. There's risk aversion. There's I talked before about a little bit of laziness on the part of some publishers. There's so much going on right now. I think we've moved away from something I think we got right 20 years ago, which is creating an environment where we are encouraging developers and publishers to take risks and do their best work. And the platform is a massive bully pulpit. Massive bully pulpit, probably the biggest bully pulpit in this entire industry to help affect change in the industry. And I don't think not just Microsoft with Xbox, I don't think any of the large platform providers are doing enough of this right now. Create a culture where gamers and developers and publishers can do their best work. The developers and publishers can do their best work, and gamers can participate in that in active and iterative ways through content creation and UGC and other things, and create that environment. And frankly, evaluate whether or not, Xbox is an $18 billion business today. Hopefully Microsoft is the best home for it, but if it isn't, spin it off, like do something else with it. It can stand on its own. It's large enough to stand on its own. So that's the second piece of feedback. The third piece of feedback is listen and stay connected to your community, but also recognize that the term community can mean so many things, right? The community is passionate, but you also need to run a successful business, right? You have to balance those two things. That's why you get paid the big bucks, right? That's why you have the big job, right? And I've touched upon some of the issues around trust and misalignment. You have to focus on those things. You have to focus on re-earning trust. You have to focus on hopefully aligning the needs of the business and the needs of the gamer better. The fourth piece of feedback is spend time on affordability. I think games are so much fun and people are so passionate, but it got to this point partially because it was an inexpensive hobby, right? And people from all ages and walks of life, from little kids to old folks, could participate and have fun. And mobile gaming got huge, right? Because of its accessibility. And I think we've moved away from that too far. AAA gaming has gotten super expensive, particularly on console. Why is Steam so popular? Steam's popular because it's a great value, right? It's a multi-purpose device. You play on your laptop. You play on your desktop you need for homework or work, and the games are always on sale on Steam. So it became popular because of value, right? Game Pass got popular, at least early on, at $10 a month. It got popular because of its perceived value. Try to find a balance here and create moments of accessibility for gamers. And then my last piece of feedback is just follow through. Commit to what you want to do and then do it. I think this speaks to the trust point, but the constant twists and turns and going back and changing your mind or whatever costs you credibility with the community. So try to pick a direction and then commit to that direction and follow through. So again, those are just a few things just sort of on the top of my mind. I mean, I think to the community, I just close by saying, everybody should be rooting for Asha and for Xbox to be successful. Like the industry and gamers need Xbox to be healthy and successful.
True.
Right. And we need it. Contrary to popular belief, it sounds like an awesome job. It's one of the hardest jobs in the world. I don't envy her, right? In a way, like it's, just you have to balance the needs and wants of everyone, the community, the partner community, the studios, the corporate, folks above you. And it's practically impossible to knock it out of the park. She's going to make mistakes, but, give her a chance, give her some time and space, right? Because we need her to be successful. Anyway.
Well said. Well said. Michael, any parting thoughts here as we wind down?
I don't got advice because I'm not a Greg out here. So, but no, it's really insightful because these are things that a lot of it we're not privy to. But what I will say is that echoing Greg in this sense is that if Xbox is successful in the near future and in the future, that means a lot of the studios will be successful as well. At least that's the hope. And I think this isn't to say like, oh, like we want Xbox to be number one. We want it to be the best platform. It's like, because since Xbox now is responsible for so many game development studios, it needs to be successful for them. There's a lot of people who make these games, a lot of people on the ground level, the ones we don't see on camera, the ones who aren't making the big bucks, who are creating the games that we play. And so when Xbox is successful, hopefully that also means that the rest of those studios can continue to exist, maybe expand, do their next project. So you root for Xbox's success because of that, or at least I do. Because at the end of the day, that's where my most concern is. What is the fate of the studios? Because we're in a time where a lot of things are shutting down. There's a lot of projects that are falling flat on their face out of the gate. When we look back, even just that we're in February and we already saw the closure of Blue Point over on Sony. We saw High Guard fall flat on its face, unfortunately. And that has been such a trend for these years. And I don't want to see that with any game studio, and especially the ones that have been acquired under Xbox. So I think that Xbox's success also needs to mean the success of all of their studios. And hopefully that, she doesn't need to be a Phil Spencer. Like I remember, seeing Phil Spencer at the Giant Bomb night shows during E3s in the green room and like chatting with him for a minute before he gets on and talks to Jeff Gerstmann during those days. Like that was really cool, but she doesn't need to do that. She doesn't need to be that person. Right. She could be like a manager and just be like, as Greg said, like put people in positions to be successful and make certain decisions to help them thrive. Whatever that looks like, that's a very like esoteric, broad statement, but I think that's the number one priority is like make sure that everyone else under you is in a position to succeed and let the cards fall where they may. Yep. Because that also centers not just the developers, but the people who are playing games, or playing Xbox or Microsoft managed games. In that way, I think everybody can win in that sort of position.
Nicely said. Miranda.
All right. I've been just like jotting a bunch of notes because you guys are making me think. You're making me think. First, who's going to be the head of game studios? That's one question I have now. I'm like, who's going to get
Matt Booty's old position?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Maybe he's doing the same work.
Still his job. I don't know. Well,
that's hard to say. That's just like a side thought. But I think to both of your points, that Asha needs to be a shepherd to what she says is the return of Xbox. And so she had a interview with Windows Central and they asked her, but like, what does that mean? Because that's also a thing that we've asked about. Like, what does that mean in light of everything that's happened up until now, where the identity of Xbox is so in the air, and it feels like being a fan of Xbox means getting a gut punch every few months. And she said, for me, the spirit of return of Xbox is about returning to the spirit that the team was founded on, she explains. It's the spirit of surprise. It's the spirit of building something nobody else is willing to try. I've heard renegade, rebellion, and fun used. That's what I was thinking about when I wrote that. And so I'm really curious to see how she's going to be able to integrate that with the current vision of Xbox and what's going forward. When I think about those words and what we have right now in Xbox, I think about game preview. I think about experimental games in different studios. So like I look at Double Fine, I look at Obsidian, I look at what they're doing and hope that those sorts of ideas of fun and creativity can really be brought to some of the other studios like Halo Studios. Like, what are they doing? And like give them some more space to like really bring forward like these iconic characters and worlds in Xbox and let them be, it's like weird to say, it's like let them be free, you know, like give them the support to let them be really creative and find new ways. And I think if we do get that scrappy spirit, kind of as we looked at this whole episode, like we could look at, you know, the 360 days where things were really creative, things are really just trying a lot of new cool things, and that can do a lot of good for the industry as a whole. So I hope that is something she's able to shepherd in.
Love it. It's tough to add much more to what the three of you all absolutely phenomenally stated there. For me, I think I'm definitely on the give her a chance train because, again, like, if she's terrible, that's a horrific outcome for gamers, for developers, and arguably for the entire industry. So hopefully she's got the leadership skills to cultivate all those great environments that all of you talked about. And I suppose what I would like to see from her that's realistic, because, you know, the comments will be stuff like, well, cut Game Pass back down to $10 a month for the old. Like, no, that's, you know, we got to be realistic about this stuff. Mm-hmm. But what I would love to see that I'd love to see Xbox return to is a community. Like, that's something I feel like since Larry Herb left, since Major Nelson left, Xbox feels, and by the way, Sony, I would levy the same criticism at Sony. Yeah, so this is not like a I hate Xbox thing. It's pretty soulless now. Like, whereas in the original Xbox era and the 360 era, there was so much just like heart to it from not only the people that worked there, but the people that kind of put themselves out publicly, the gaming community, the developing. It was all, you know, we used to get Major Nelson would publish, I believe it was every week, was like the most played, Greg would know this, the top played live arcade games and the top played, right?
Yeah. I worked with Larry on that for years. Like,
yep. You know, they were very proactive. It was a two-way communication with the community where it's like, here's what's going on. You know, these are the most played games on live arcade. Here's the most played games on, you know, online multiplayer on Xbox Live. Stuff like that I would love to see brought back. And to that, a similar strand, I would say the 25th anniversary is coming up in, you know, 8 months or whatever it is, nine months. In fact, yeah, just about almost exactly 9 months. Celebrate that anniversary, because I am of the opinion, you know, we had Larry here where we celebrated the 20th anniversary of the 360 with him on this show. I feel like, and I don't want this to sound, I'm not taking shots, but I feel like we celebrated the 360's 20th anniversary more than Microsoft itself did. Yep. Like, I feel like they did not really, I thought that was a missed opportunity. And so with the 25th anniversary of Xbox as a brand coming up, I would love to see Asha lean into that. You know, bring back, like, have Larry, even if he doesn't work there anymore, like, bring him in, have him interview Jay Allard and Robbie Bach and Seamus Blackley and some of these, you know, and then developers. Like, let's celebrate the 25th anniversary, because people, and we are all those people, we've all like made great memories with this brand. Like, it sounds almost maybe a little dystopian for some people. Like, well, you mean you've made great memories with a corporation? But no, it's like this brand, the Xbox products, the consoles and the games, they have, like, we've forged awesome memories through that. And I would love to see Xbox kind of get back to trying to nurture that and inspire more of that, not just for us, but for that next generation that Greg's talking about, the Gen Alphas of the world who are just coming up. Like, you know, we had November 9th midnight launch with Halo 2. Greg's wearing his Halo 2 sweatshirt right now. And so, like, that's the kind of thing that I would. I'm not saying midnight launches. That's obviously that's a retailer.
I'd be down though.
I love midnight launches.
But yes, but that's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. And my final point on that similar note would be, I'd say something. As much as I love Phil, when he and I would talk privately, he would often give me crap in a very friendly way about how I always talked about, like, he thought, I think he kind of thought that that I thought the Xbox's best days were behind it. And that's not always what I was trying to say, but I think Phil was very much a move forward guy, and I totally understand that. I totally respect that. I get it. But like, the fact is, Microsoft, even setting aside Michael's points about how massive their gaming development umbrella is now and how much that entails, there are so many great game properties. There's so many great IPs that are collecting dust in the Microsoft vault.
Sure, yeah.
That, to Michael's point about how much development talent is now owned by Microsoft, you could bring back some of this stuff in brilliant ways. I'm talking like Shadowrun. Now, Shadowrun, for those of you who were around in the 360 era, and sorry, this is like a quick aside, but I'm coming right back. Shadowrun left us all scratching our heads in the 360 era when it was brought back as a competitive first-person shooter with no campaign. As it turned out, it was kind of just ahead of its time. Like, that could totally exist now and nobody would bat an eyelash. It would be a free-to-play thing. But everybody was like, wait, you're doing a Shadowrun game and it's not an RPG? It's a first-person, it's a competitive shooter? What? So, like, you could hand Obsidian or InXile the Shadowrun IP and say, go nuts. Let's have ourselves a Shadowrun RPG. You could talk to a number of studios in the family about Mech Assault or Mech Warrior. Like, there are a ton. Crimson Skies. Crimson
Skies, man.
How about Playground doing a Crimson Skies game? Like, I know they're a little busy with Fable and Forza Horizon, but again, so that's my last point is, don't be afraid of the past, because the past was good and can still be awesome. Look at what id Software, within their own family, has done with Doom, right? Doom was the past, and it was one of the greatest games of all time. And then it became the present as well through sheer talent at id Software, bringing it back and making it modern and awesome again. So
I agree. And I would say with that comes revisit the cost, time, and scope of making some of these games. Not every game needs to be a $300 million, 7-year development cycle, 1,000-person operation.
Yep.
Look at last year. So last year was arguably, after 2007, one of the best years in video game history, like in terms of the quality of releases. 2025, absolutely unbelievable. Look at all of the game awards. Look at all the accolades behind the Blueprints and the Silk Songs, and there were so many amazing Hades 2. So some of those games were made by one person, 5 people, with a development budget of a few $1 million, and they're winning game awards. Not everything needs to be an open world. So when you think
look
about
at the game
things,
that won the most game awards ever in a single year,
Claire Obscure, baby.
Claire Obscure,
and it was made by by modern standards, smaller team on exactly what you're saying, Greg, a more reasonable time horizon.
Exactly. And this is when I talk about creating an environment for gaming to thrive internally and externally, this is what I mean. I mean creating the culture, the environment, the tools to allow people to get back to that, to express themselves in different ways and not fall into this trap that the industry is in, where everything needs to be Grand Theft Auto 6 or it's a failure, or Elder Scrolls or it's a failure. Like that, we have to, for the health of the industry and for the health of Xbox, we have to come back to some of these smaller bets. They have Game Pass as a platform to help to facilitate that. They have development tools, kits. This is the platform bully pulpit thing. They have the ability to influence the industry in a positive way. And we need to get back to that. Strauss Zelnick, CEO of Take-Two, said to your point, my job is creating and cultivating, I'm paraphrasing, but creating, hiring great talent, creating, cultivating, and retaining that talent and letting them do their thing. That's what, that's what I'm talking about. Asha, it would be great if she could focus on that relentless focus on creating that environment for developers and publishers to thrive and create those types of games. You have the IP, to your point, Ryan. You have the IP. Go for it.
All right, as we near the 2-hour mark, we will wrap it up there. Thanks for checking out this clip from Unlocked, IGN's weekly Xbox show. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to watch the full episode at youtube.com/IGN Games. New episodes of Unlocked drop every Thursday on IGN Games, IGN.com, and your favorite podcast platforms. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.